I need some of those hand claps. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Felicia, how are you?
I'm good. Did you hear anything I said just then? I think I was silent.
I didn't hear a single solitary thing. I just saw, I did see the Trifecta Summit screen up there.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to do this over a little bit because I think I was supposed to put myself back in. But guys, this is Felicia Rie, your host and executive producer, and the person that's doing the technical stuff, clearly. So I'm grateful that you joined us tonight. I wanted to take a moment. I'm going to go back a bit and invite you guys to the Trifecta Summit. You did not hear me, but it's sponsored by Real Estate of Our Union. It's free registration, and it'll help you with the tools that you need to do the mental, physical, and spiritual work in order to have great relationships. And I'm going to put the link in comments, and we have some powerful panelists. We have licensed therapists. We have dating experts. We have wellness coaches. We have authors. And guess what? We have our next guest who's going to be there. Charles is going to be joining us at the summit. I'm so excited, Charles.
I'm so honored. Trust me, I'm honored to be a part of this.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a long time coming. I feel like we've known each other forever. I think it's probably been a year now.
Yep.
And you're my brother now. If you know me for a year, then we're relatives now.
Sounds good to me. Works for me.
So I am so excited to be celebrating with you because when we first met, you were in the process of writing your book.
That's right.
You were just talking about, I think I'm going to write a book. And now you've written the book. You've written the book, and I can't wait to take a deep dive into that book. So, guys, this is Charles's information. I'll put it back up, and it'll be in the comments if you would like to reach him. Right now, we need to see that face. Bonetown Publishing. So, Charles, talk to me. Tell me, who is Charles Duke? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Charles Duke, born and raised in New York City. Although I guess I've lived more than half my life now in New Jersey, but I'm still claiming New York.
Okay.
And I'm now an author. I had a career in journalism, sales, as well as I'm a writer and a frustrated musician who plays roughly about 6 or 7 instruments.
Oh, what? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that a little bit because I just play piano.
Oh, really?
I'm a piano player, you know. I don't know how to play anything else.
I play totally by ear.
Oh, and now I'm really upset. I had to study for it.
No, there's only one instrument that I haven't played in over 40 years, but only one instrument that I played by writing, and that's cello.
Wow. So that explains that creative side.
Yeah, there's a little bit of creativity there.
So do you have like published music that we can find and listen to?
No, it's I've only really done demos. I've played, in bands quite some time ago. Used to what they call garage bands nowadays.
I'm very familiar.
But
best music ever.
But I'm gonna tell you something. Through college, it was a way to make a living. So I was, I did okay, but then I decided to grow up.
Okay, get a real job.
Yeah, I met this one back here.
Okay,
and,
okay.
The 3 and 4 o'clock in the mornings wasn't quite cutting it anymore.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. So, Charles, tell me, oh wise one, you were born in New York City. Have you ever been to Atlanta?
One time, my daughter graduated from Spelman.
Okay.
I've been there twice. Once 3 times. Once for an interview, once to take her down, and once to bring her home after graduation.
Gotcha. Okay. So you like my city then, right?
I like Atlanta. It's been a while since I've been there, and I would like to come there one more time and see what it's like.
You definitely should.
I
Definitely
know
after this virus, for sure.
Yes, yes. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of frequent flyer miles taking place.
Tell me about it. Mine for one.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Okay, so Charles, you studied at City College of New York.
That's where I completed my education. I first went to I spent my first year and a half doing undergrad work in Wisconsin, a little small college called Carroll College. It's now Carroll University. In a little small town in Wisconsin, and I came back and completed my education. Went straight through, but completed my education at City College of New York, part of the university system.
Cool. Okay. So tell us, Charles, tell us about Bonetown Publishing, and then we're gonna take that deep dive into the book.
Okay.
Tell us about Bonetown Publishing.
Bonetown Publishing is named really after my wife. Going back to the biblical verse, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And Bone was a little pet name that I gave, to her, and I used to always refer to her. Say, Bone, come here. I want you to see this. Bone, check this out. What you up to, Bone? Calling upstairs here, and so therefore, we named the company after her, and this is its first product.
Wow.
My Life with Blanche. Something that I had to write because we had such a great relationship, a great marriage. But Bonetown Publishing, which is really the doing business as Bonetown Editorial, is really the host company, which Bonetown Editorial gets into editing, copywriting, developmental editing, and a host of things. Of course, I do some writing. I come from the field of publishing, where for a long period of time I was involved in trade publications that basically deal with the towing and recovery industry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Started.
You miss it, don't you? You miss it, don't you? I know.
Well, you know what? To a degree, I miss it. But, at the same token, I feel more at home doing what I'm doing now.
Okay. Let me take a pause and tell everybody hi. Hi, guys. I see your comments over there. Charles, you got a nice little audience here tonight.
Oh, okay.
They want to hear about this book.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Thanks everybody for showing up.
Yeah. Jackie, are you at the beach or is that just your cover page? Because I'm jealous.
I was getting ready to say Jackie's bragging.
Right.
And I saw creative explorations there. Hello, how are y'all?
Yes.
It's good to see y'all. And I saw a good friend of mine, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Good music.
Okay, Charles. Now, I'm going to just be honest with you. Can you see can you see all that?
I love it.
Wait a minute. Wait. That ain't even it.
Okay. All right. All right.
I cannot. This book is so good and it's so needed. It's so relevant to relationships today. That because, like we were talking before, this generation just don't get it. And we can speak from what we see every day over in our car, the group that we have. It's the men and women are just going at it all the time. So, well, you know my frustration with that. But I'm going to take a quote from your book.
Okay.
That talks about African American men and women need to run towards each other instead of from each other.
Yes.
And we'll take a deeper dive into the why. But just start out by telling us why you wrote this book,
Yes.
who it's for, and what you want the world to get at, what you want the takeaway to be from the book.
Okay. When I wrote the book, my target audience, I was thinking in terms of a generation younger than me. And for the record, I'll turn 66 next month. However, don't feel it, but at the
You
same
don't look it, brother. You look good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But at the same time, we African Americans, I felt, never had sort of like a handbook on marriage.
Mm.
We also, we tend to, I don't want to make a general statement like we tend to gravitate towards, but from what I can see, a lot of discussion takes place around, like, say, what's called the urban novels. Okay.
Mm.
Now, not knocking it. There's a place for that. But in the process, our people are hit by a lot of stuff in media, which is not necessarily positive.
Right.
You you watch Real Housewives of whatever, and only 3 of the 7 people on there are married. Okay. You watch stuff like Basketball Wives and all that stuff, and there's a lot of antipathy, a lot of fighting, a lot of angst, a lot of negative feeling towards one another. And this statement, African American men and women need to run towards each other rather than away from each other, is basically, it's what I see. Okay. Let's go on social media, for instance, and I know you've seen this.
Yeah.
Somebody makes a post. All of a sudden, people are talking about, something negative that's happened to them in terms of why they feel this way about Black men, or why they feel this way about Black women. And it's all negative.
Right.
And we've got to change that dynamic. We really have got to change that dynamic. So that's why I said that we have to run towards each other. Okay. Remember earlier you did like this.
Yeah.
Let's open the hands and learn to know each other.
Yes. Let's
take our time when we go into a relationship. That's another thing. Generation after me, I'm not trying to be critical, but they are used to push a button, get an answer. Okay. You read my book, and Blanche and I, kind of by design, kind of by circumstance, we were together 3 years prior to getting married. And those 3 years, we saw each other in so many different lights. Okay. Lights you can't get in 6 months. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. We saw the flying high period. We saw the joining a church period, this coming together of spirits. We saw the unemployment period. Okay, where there was a lot of stress. How are you going to handle that? How are you going to handle this? Okay. Yeah. How do you deal? All of this, you had money, all of a sudden you don't have money. The great dates. The great dates have kind of like got them pushed to the side. Okay. Yeah. And so it has the cassette collection, but that's another story. And for you youngsters out there, cassettes were pre-CDs.
Oh, Lord. Now, look, y'all, don't talk about cassette tapes. They're going to think we're really old.
Well, I am.
Really don't say 8-track.
No, I'm not saying I never subscribed to 8 tracks. But anyway, but that's the bottom line, though, Felicia. You have to see, each couple has to see each other in different lights, in different circumstances. How do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with when things are good? How do you manage your life? It's all sorts of things. Not something that you can pick up in 6 months. And I see that I see a lot of comments that say, well, after 6 months, he hasn't given me a ring. What?
Right.
Come on now.
Right. And the ring, that's again, their feed, it's what's being fed to them as what means love or means status. Oh,
Right.
you got this big rock. You gotta be. He loves you. That don't mean a thing. He can give you $1 million rock and not give a hoot about you.
But the other side, and the other thing besides that is that he could he could have a lot of love for you. You could be the best thing walking on earth, but the rock isn't what you're going to show off.
Exactly.
The rock is, in your opinion, a little small. Okay, so we have to get past that push a button, get an answer thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Even when we were in school, at least people used calculators. Well, I'm not going to say how I learned math because
Don't say it.
pencil, paper, long division. We saw the numbers in action.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, that's and that's the sort of approach that has to be taken to relationships. One of the points I make in the book is that relationships, or basically marriage, is 80% give and 20% take.
Mm.
If you live with those percentages, you'll have a successful marriage.
Yeah.
You know,
So that they don't have, just like you said, we didn't have the roadmap for Black relationships.
right.
They don't have anything either. They're consuming social media. They're consuming their friends and what Jenny has. Well, Jenny has a ring, or Jenny's married. Jenny's got a house, but I don't. So my man must just not care about me. But that's not at all the truth.
At all.
But that's what. Yeah, I believe that's a part of the issue, is that they don't have guys. Because I actually, and this is funny, Charles, I mentioned this to my husband today. I said, I remember my aunts, cousins, older cousins, grandmother saying, "Oh, baby, you got an ATM between your legs." Okay, well, you just told me that I'm a what? Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So then my mentality is going to be, you cannot be with me if you ain't got money or throwing some cash my way, because
Right.
you got to take care of me. That is so, to me, you're setting yourself up to not have a good man, really.
Right.
In my opinion. What do you
And
think?
and from a man's perspective, hell, I can get that anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So right there, you're devaluing yourself if that's your attitude. And you have so much more to offer. You're more than a credit score. You're more than what's between your legs. You're more than what you take home every 2 weeks or every month, or how, whatever your pay thing is. You have to value yourself. You bring a lot to the table. And the one thing that I remember, our first date, mine and Blanche's first date, it's at an old New York City restaurant called the Horn of Plenty. Okay, a lot of African Americans went there. Great restaurant. And we talked about everything under the sun except sex and money and what have you. We talked about politics. We talked about music. We talked about, and we were far from thinking about any long-term relationship, but we were thinking about raising kids in what was then today's society. We were talking about the challenges of work. We had a real deep conversation for the 2 or 3 hours we were at the Horn of Plenty. Okay. And, a deep conversation when I drove her all the way back to Jersey in the car. So we just had a great, my friend Alfred. Hey, Al, what's going on?
Hey, Al.
That's my boy there. We've known each other since kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's sort of like,
y'all were courting.
What's that?
Y'all were courting.
Yes, we were courting.
You're recording.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, it's funny when I hear a song from that day, I would say to myself, "Hey, that's courting music right there."
Right.
Sweet Sensation, Never Knew Love Like This Before by Stephen,
Yeah.
and Back Together Again by Roberta Flack. All that was courting music.
So, Charles, you say in your book that the younger generation of African Americans are afraid of, they're terrified of commitment. Why?
I think because, and this is something, once Blanche passed away, I did start dating. But one thing that I noticed that there was virtually no trust or very little trust between the sexes. And I think what happens is I think people tend to, rather than be themselves, they try to play a role. They try to puff themselves up, I'm in the boardroom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And the young lady might say, well, I'm independent. I'm making like high fives, nearly six figures and this, that, and the other. And they're puffing themselves up. And that's what they try to become. And that's what they try to portray. However, what happens if that all goes away?
Right.
What happens if COVID hits and, hey, you're laid off? Okay. Therefore, your independence is gone. Who are you beneath that? And that's why I think when I say terrified of commitment, people have been hurt by the puffery and the fact that they were taken in by the role playing, not who the person was. Okay. Therefore, trust is, can I trust what this guy is saying? Can I trust what this woman is saying? Well, there's one of my old time friends, Brother Orman O'Neill. Hey, bro. This is like home time.
Oh, that's the 80-20, the 20-80.
80-20 that he's referring to. Yeah.
The 80-20.
Yes. Anyway, that's where that terrified of commitment begins. So after you've had 2 or 3 bad experiences with people aren't who they say they are, I don't trust. If you don't trust, it's impossible to commit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why you can't take it fast. You got to learn, know who a person is, and you got to know who a person is beyond the glitter or the superficial. The superficial.
Yeah.
I can. It was like somebody, like I said about one of the guys that we were talking about. Hey, I could put on a suit and a tie and speak the King's English and talk about, read something on rocket science, but that's not who I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it will soon be found out that that's not who I am. So who am I? And going back to that first date with Blanche, that's what we talked about. We talked about who we were. Okay. Now, never mind, she had a job. I had a corporate job. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. Who are you?
Who we were.
Yeah.
Essence, what we enjoyed doing, So that's what I think is part of this, the afraid of commitment. And people have gone through not only bad relationships, people have gone through bad marriages where the husband or the wife weren't who they said they were.
Happens all the time.
They supposed to be. So there you have it. So as a result, people today seem to be terrified of commitment.
Yeah, because I love that you spoke about transparency. That's what I learned my second time around, because you can't fake it for forever. So your true self is going to show. So if you didn't present yourself in a transparent way and present yourself as fully who you are, it's just not going to work, because guess what? Your looks are going to fade. All that superficial stuff can go away. Like, you might not make that much money like you used to make. All that goes away. But who are you? Who are you? What is your heart like? Who are you?
Gym bodies fade. what happens in terms of illness, sudden illness?
Mm,
Can I trust this person to hang with me?
right.
This, that, what happens then? If you're in a committed relationship and you both agree you're in it for the long haul, you're going to have to be, you have to be one-on-one with each other.
Absolutely.
There is no BS in that.
Nope.
None whatsoever. So that's what I mean by afraid of commitment.
Oh, okay.
Did I answer the question?
You did. You answered the question.
Okay.
But let me ask you about what you say about you gave 3 major reasons that you wanted to write the book as well, and one was you wanted to dispel the myth that Black love doesn't exist, because it does.
Of course it does.
One thing you pointed out in the book, Charles, I loved it. You talked about fathers and how important fathers are to the relationship with their children, their daughters, boys, daughters, and how young men are missing the mark if they are not engaging with their fathers, if their fathers are not there.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, back in the time that I started seeing Blanche, Black men were starting to get a bad rap. Some of it justified, okay, because we started calling Black women out their names. We started disrespecting them. And we, by and large, started leaving the home. The stats I pointed out in the book, which I don't think they've changed all that much, although they are from quite some time ago. Let me just
let's read those stats.
Okay, let me just get to that stat.
You got it?
I'm getting to it. It's in the introduction, I believe. Yes, here we go.
Page 7.
Here we go. Yeah, thank you. I had it on page 8. Wait a minute. All right. Here it is. In my own life, I remember seeing a lack of commitment begin. I'm talking about African American men. Lack of commitment began when a popular ratio was going around 1.8 to 1. That is, there were 1.8 available African American women for every available African American man. Once that ratio hit the streets in pop culture, it seems that the breakdown of the family, especially African American families, was on. What is meant by available? In a 1987 lecture and book by Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu titled Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, he cited that at the time, African American male births actually outnumbered their female counterparts 1.03 to 1. However, the ratio of African American males lessens as they grow and they become unavailable due to jail, drugs, death, homosexuality, institutionalization, and interracial marriage. Playing this out, Dr. Kunjufu posited that women do a great job in parenting and raising their sons, but only men can make boys men. But how can a boy become a man if he's never seen any? Dr. Kunjufu cited a University of Michigan study that found that by 1980, 62% of African American households were run by a single parent. That number may be even higher today. From my observation, the overwhelming majority of these households were headed by African American women.
Right.
However, the father should be the ultimate role model for his son. And I go on to say that the father is not only the role model for his son, but the father plays just as an important role in his daughters.
Absolutely.
Okay. The father is the daughter's source of self-esteem.
Right.
Okay. He's the one that compliments it. He's the one, he's the one who shows how a man is supposed to treat a lady by the way he treats her mother. Okay. Right. He is, and depending on, a few things, he's that strong person, that model that she needs to see day in, day out. When she eventually decides it's time for me to take on a relationship and get married. Okay. She should see a strong man in who she decides to be with. And that model that she should see should resemble somewhat of the values that the father has.
So would you say that because of whatever reason that is ideal? However, some women are single, raising children for no fault of maybe the spouse died or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that the community, we're not as communal as we used to be either? Would you say the community should come together more to help raise our boys, or should we do more?
The community, of course, the community has a role. Okay. Matter of fact, Blanche was a single parent when I met her, but she had our son, and I'm going to call him our son, Mark, involved in all sorts of sports. I think he was involved in the Scouts. I know Kim was involved in the Scouts for a while, and all had him involved in all types of activity. Mark played Pop Warner year round: basketball, baseball, and football. So and through that, there's socialization with other men. There's socialization with other peers, but it's guided. Okay. Blanche would not let Mark go, but so far, like she was an excellent parent. And, she often said that, I handled it up to a certain point. Okay. And Blanche wasn't always a single parent. She went through a divorce. She said, but she always said to me, I can handle it up to a certain point. And I'm glad that you came around when you did, because then Mark could, Mark was 12 at the time I came around. And then he saw, how I handled things. Mm-hmm. He's got the benefit of me talking to him one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? So it was very fruitful for him. Mm-hmm. It was also fruitful for Kim, my daughter.
Right, because she had that father figure there.
Not only the father figure, but she saw how
you treated her mom,
a woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But Charles, honestly, most guys, when I see the comments over and I'm not marrying or being with a woman who has children, I think that's the mindset of a lot of men. Mm-hmm. They don't want to date single women who have kids. So what do we do?
Well, I wish I had an answer to that. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't. Okay. Yeah. I'm not a guru by any, stretch of the imagination.
Of course you are.
But at the same token, I'm going to say this, men may need to broaden their horizons.
I agree.
You can have the stereotype or the preconditioned thought that I'm not marrying a woman and I'm not raising another man's child.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
But it can be such a rewarding experience.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It can be such a rewarding experience, and you never know. One thing I always like to say is, you can say this, say that, but you never know what God has in store for you.
That's the truth. You
never know what. Listen, if I thought about at the time, I won't say ideal, but my prototype woman, it probably would never have been Blanche. Okay, and let me explain. My prototype would be like 5'5" and nice hair and this, that, and the other, and maybe my age or a year younger. Blanche was none of that. Blanche barely scraped 5 feet. Okay. Her hair, although always nice, was, not, the free flowing, what have you. And instead of being my age or a couple of years younger, Blanche was 7 years older than I was.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it was I when we got together, of course it was okay, there was a little bit of ego trip, 25 and boom, 32-year-old. Okay. But at the same token, when I fell in love with her, I also fell in love with the kids. Okay. And I went into the relationship with that mindset, sort of like, now you're not just dating one person, you're dating three. Okay. And it was important for me to always keep that in mind, because when I did things for the kids individually, took Mark to basketball games, baseball games. So
Right.
There's a great story in the book of one thing I was very proud of that I did for Kim. And that was, she was a huge Michael Jackson fan. And I scored 4 tickets to see the Jacksons at the 81 concert at the Garden. And she just fell out. She,
oh my goodness.
She loved me for life at that point.
I'm sure.
I'm just saying that, well, she loved me for life prior to that. But the thing is, it can be rewarding. Don't cut, fellas, if you feel that way, don't cut yourself short. Never cut yourself. Leave your heart open for possibilities, because you don't know what rewards lie out there for you.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, if I had never taken that shot, being the cocky New Yorker that I was at the time, and asked Blanche on that date, I never would have had this book. Never would have been written.
Absolutely.
And as it turns out, and this is not bragging, but our friends called our relationship the prototype. It was the yardstick.
I saw that in the book. Y'all get this book.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff in there, like,
yeah,
especially when you go to chapter 10, the romance, that chapter called Romance, which is really powerful. I talk about being a step parent. I talk about there's one chapter called Unemployment, the Mantra, and God, which really talks about the basis of our marriage, essentially.
Wow.
And that all happened before we got married. So that's why I'm saying you have to take your time when you get into a relationship with someone. You have to learn. You have to know the person. You have to learn the person. They've got to learn you. They've got to know you. It's not press a button, get an answer.
Never. So Tracy has a question. Tracy's here.
Okay, hey Tracy.
So Tracy's question is, when we say that a woman can't teach a boy to be a man, which I agree with, what is one specific thing that a man teaches a boy that a woman absolutely cannot?
How to handle himself around men. How to have the confidence to step up for yourself. What it takes to step up. Okay? What a man looks for in another man. Women can't teach that. And I'm happy to say that I see another friend of mine here. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
But a woman just can't teach. That's something innate in men. And then when you take it to a cultural level, it gets deeper. There are things that Black men know. There are things that Black men can. Only Black men can teach Black boys.
Well, you got to give. What is the one thing though that we absolutely? That's the one thing.
Well, you only ask for one thing.
So you're saying that a woman?
I could talk about, nowadays it's different. but I could talk about, sports. I could talk about all sorts of stuff in that direction, that we can, me and Mark related on. We talk about, how to treat a woman, the proper way to treat a woman. Okay. Which
so
was
I have friends that tell their boys, so they're not right. What's she say? Tracy said, give her one more.
Tracy, come on. Give me a break here. Give me one more thing that a man can teach a boy.
Because I don't think she's convinced, Charles.
Tracy, I'm gonna talk with you. Anyway, I'll be honest. It's
no, she can't.
A lot of the stuff is innate. It's not something that can really be put on paper. It's not something that can really be. I'm kidding. That was good. Anyway, it's not. It's stuff that's innate.
Right. I get it.
It's stuff through observation.
Yeah.
For instance, I remember when I was a space salesman selling advertising space. I remember coming home and having to make some follow-up calls after I, parked the car and went in the house. I made some follow-up calls to some clients. And Mark, and this is detailed in the book too. And Mark came downstairs. He was upstairs, supposedly studying, but he came downstairs and he said, "Charles, what is it that you do?" And I told him, well, I sell advertising space. That's what I was doing at the time. And he says, "What does that mean?" And I pulled out the directory I was working on at the time, or the magazine rather. And I opened it up and I said, "Mark, what do you see here?" He says, "I see pages with a lot of ads and words on it." Okay. Now, if I take this ad, look at this ad up here on the right page in the corner. If I take that out, what's there? It says an empty space. It says, well, it's my job to sell that space. And sometimes when I talk, he was hearing me talk in my professional voice. So trying to figure out, what is, because that's not the Charles that tells me to lay off his Pepsi. That's the Charles that, I ain't familiar with that one. So we talk, I told him about what I did. It's, like I said, a lot of it's innate. A lot of it is innate. So you can't, it's not something that you can actually put on paper. It's something that, first of all, you have to gain the respect of the child, and then you have, as they have respect for you, they listen to you. And I don't mean listen to you in terms of, you're, handing out like a punishment or anything. That they listen and they observe what you do.
Yeah.
And they can compartmentalize, or at least Mark could compartmentalize. There's a way that you act here, and there's a way that you act there. Okay. All the while maintaining your respect, your integrity as a man. And I think that's something Mark picked up.
Okay. Tracy says she get it.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm glad you got it.
Get it, got it good. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up, Charles, but I do want to know too.
Already? This was fun.
Okay, you want to continue?
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
So we could go on and on about this book, because I tell you, it's so much good information in here. You have no idea. You guys, please order his book, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, and it's also all over my social media. But I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys will have the link. But Charles, tell me one thing that absolutely made your 30-year relationship with Blanche work. Just made it work. Your top thing that you feel made it work.
Friday night.
Let's talk about Friday nights. All right.
Friday night, for every Friday night. It started on actually 4 years into our marriage, and it started on a, ironically, Good Friday. Um, Friday night was the time that we both look forward to, and I'll just give the description. Well, first of all, we celebrated our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and by doing this every Friday night, unwittingly, but definitely, we built an impenetrable rock around our marriage. Okay,
Okay.
this is what we did. Friday night, 6 o'clock, the phones come off the hook. Now, this is pre-cell phone, so the phones came off the hook during.
Now listen to this now.
Yeah,
He's
please
teaching.
take notes,
Take
y'all.
notes.
Take notes. So the phones came off the hook, or later on, the cell phones, we turned them off.
Mm-hmm.
People knew that if you didn't hit Blanche and Charles by 6 or 7 o'clock Friday night, you weren't hearing from them until the next morning, at least. Okay? So, after that, of course, we'd shower. One of us would have brought some food from outside. I'd light a few candles in the living room or what have you. I had a 6 CD carousel. Select some music for the night, music that we both like. And this is in the book, chapter 10. Get 2 bottles of champagne, and we'd celebrate our relationship every Friday night. No, we shut out the world. No worries, no concerns, nothing.
Yep.
It was just spotlight on Blanche and Charles.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll say candlelight on Blanche and Charles. Okay. And if you ask me, one of the major things I miss the most about Blanche, it's not being able to celebrate Friday night.
Wow.
There's a lot I miss about it. And for those who don't know, Blanche passed away in 2018. But Friday night it was special. And like I said, all of our friends and family knew about Friday night. Now, the only thing that would stop Friday night is if one of us was sick. And then we try and fake it sometimes. I'm fine. Sneezing and sniffing all over. No, I'm good. I'm serious. But listen, Blanche and I had so much fun, and then we'd follow it up the next day by going into my hometown, Harlem, going to Sylvia's and going to socio-political rallies and lectures. We just had a ball, the two of us together. It was like it's like I said, friends called it the yardstick, and it was. It may seem fairy tales. I mean, we had our share of trials and tribulations. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
they were not. The trials and tribulations were minuscule compared to the great times that we had together.
Wow. Yeah, that downtime with each other is very, very important.
It is so important. You can't constantly be involved in everybody else's drama.
Right.
And everybody else's worries and concerns. Y'all got to listen. You got to celebrate your relationship.
Absolutely.
So
I love it.
That's how we did it. And if you ask me, what was the one thing that I remember from the relationship? Look, read chapter 10. That will tell you everything. Chapter 10 is called Romance.
Okay.
And we did so many things. I would surprise her a lot. Give her just because gifts. She would surprise me with excursions, and she surprised me for my 40th birthday with
wow,
birthday party. given at this art gallery, which was, I mean, it was off the chain. Fortunately, I still have the videotape of that.
Oh wow! Wow!
I'll go back and I'll play it for myself just to feel her personality.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, this was a special woman back here.
Well, we can feel that we can feel that through you.
I wanted the world to know how special she was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hope she's looking down upon me and saying, Charles, you're doing me proud.
Bone.
Bone. Oh, I'm doing all right, Bone.
Yeah, she definitely is happy, Charles. I believe that.
That's my sweetheart.
So I'm ready for this book. I put the link in the chat, guys. Click on it and order away because this book is great. It is great.
And, yeah. You can order the book through Zelle. You can order the book through money order. I can't take personal checks as of yet. Business not set up like that. Can't take credit cards, but you can send it to Bonetown Publishing, Post Office Box 246. That's in Franklin Park, New Jersey, 08823. And also you can order it through Zelle. You can go to my website, which is bonetowneditorial.com. Click on the link to My Life with Blanche.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you all the details. Matter of fact, it's the book itself is available in ebook form on Amazon. So, okay. And there's a link on my website that leads you to a sample of the book. So I definitely want you guys to check it out. It's like I said, we never had a handbook. African Americans never had a handbook as it pertained to marriage and really like relationships. Thank you, Michelle Morgan. Appreciate that. That's another childhood friend.
Okay.
And Michelle, I'm not going to tell your age. Don't worry about it. Thank you. And but just to be honest, it's I'm very proud of the work. I'm not bragging, but I'm very proud of the work. And that's I think others will benefit from it.
I believe that as well.
I think many people will benefit from this book. And I listen, if you're listening on our car, Real Conversations About Relationships, I want each and every one of you to get this book. It's not just geared towards women. There's a lot of stuff in there for brothers. A lot of stuff in there. There's one chapter called Shop Talk for the Brothers. And there's stuff throughout, but there's stuff in that particular chapter on my sentiments on how to communicate with women.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So, please go out and get it. I often say if I don't make a dime from this book, if it helps one person, my work is done.
Well, thank you for that, Charles. I've just been informed that we are running over the president is speaking, I guess.
Yeah, we're competing against Joe.
We're competing against Joe. I don't think we want to do that. But listen, I appreciate you so much for coming on and hanging out with me.
I am honored. Thank you.
You got to come back because we got to finish this discussion. We got to.
I would like that.
Okay. You
a lot we haven't gotten to, but I would like that very much.
You got to come back. And guys, thank you to those who joined us tonight. Thank you. And I appreciate you for hanging out with us. And please check the comments. And I put a link for the Trifecta Summit, which is coming up. And it's all about celebrating relationships. You're gonna have takeaways that will help you with your tools on how to have healthy relationships from a spiritual perspective. What else, Charles? Mental perspective and physical. We're gonna deal with it all. So please, and registration is free. So please register for the summit. It's going to be amazing. And that is it, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can come back next week. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.